to another reading from Science of Mind Daily Guides from the Science of Mind magazine. I'm David Dewhurst. I'm a minister at Creative Life Spiritual Center in Spring, Texas. So this reading is coming to you courtesy of Creative Life Spiritual Center. Today's reading is entitled, To Believe in Belief. That might seem a kind of strange title. So let's see what it's got to say, shall we? First quote is from Idella M. Chadwick. And I didn't need to look her up because Reverend Jessie Jennings, who's the author of this month's readings, gave me the answer. She was the cousin of Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes was the founder of Science of Mind, or religious science, if you like. As we said before, not to be confused, please, with Scientology. Not the same thing at all. Much closer to unity, if you know what unity is. And I have to get another mouse because this one is just big. I apologize, but my screen's doing wild and wonderful things here. So I believe it's all going to work out. A thing can be finished in the outer only as far as it is finished within the consciousness of the one doing the work. More about this shortly. Now let me just increase the size of that. This is from the Science of Mind magazine of October 1951, and it's written by Ernest Holmes. He says, a certain man came to Jesus, and from the inspiration of his hope and the enthusiasm of the occasion, standing in the light of the one whose wick of life was ever kept trimmed and burning, feeling the warmth and color of his eternal glow, exclaimed, I believe. This was a simple, sincere, and enthusiastic response to the consciousness of the one who had faith. But no sooner had he exclaimed, I believe, out of the enthusiasm of his will to believe, than old thought patterns arose to block his faith. And he said, help thou mine unbelief. And I think that's Mark 3:24. And this is what Reverend Jessie has to say about that. Jesus taught the power of belief and gave encouragement by pointing out that it is through one's faith that one is healed. Lots and lots of examples in the Christian scriptures, used to be called the New Testament, of Jesus telling people, it's your faith that has healed you. Back to Reverend Jessie, being human, we're all going to waver in our faith from time to time. When challenges appear, we turn to a neighbor and request that they hold the light for us while we calibrate our belief system. Practitioners especially offer this service. A little bit more about that shortly. Faith in the specific process by which healing occurs, or in the person apparently initiating that process, is not what is asked, but rather faith in the desired outcome as though it had already unfolded. Metaphysically, a mountain is moved by picturing a valley where the mountain once stood. Remember, Jesus once said, if you have faith, you can say unto this mountain, move, and it will be moved. He's not speaking physically. Well, I guess if you really have enough faith, it could happen, but he was speaking metaphorically and saying that when you truly believe something, when you really, really believe something, then it's going to happen. So you don't need to concern yourself with how it's going to happen. So I've mentioned this before, and to me, this is how I think of it. It's kind of the difference between a surface level belief. Yeah, I know this system can work, right? I know that this system can work, to saying this system really is going to work. And I have zero doubts in my mind that it's going to work. It's just going to work. I know it's going to work. So it's that level of belief that you would call knowingness. And it's that time or those times when you just know something is going to happen. And all this is related back to spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. And you don't have to follow the whole sequence. It's kind of like I tell people when I'm doing emotional freedom technique. What we do when we tap on energy points is we use words. We use, hopefully, the client's own words. And the reason we use words is to get people into that emotion that we're trying to dissolve. And it's the same thing here. You're trying to get into that emotion. So once you're into that emotion, you know what you want, and then you get into the emotion of what you want. And when you add those two things together, knowing what you want and the emotion tied to what you want, then that becomes a belief. And when those are really, really strong, then that's when the miracles happen. And miracles really are just things happening by laws that we don't understand. In a sense, there are no miracles because there's always an explanation, even if that explanation is that it comes from a source beyond our ability and our understanding. And it just simply relies on our belief that it's going to happen. So this is what we're talking about here, is a state of complete knowingness. When he talks about practitioners, just in case you're not familiar with that, a practitioner is someone in our belief system, in religious science, and also in unity and in Christian Science, someone who has been trained to pray on your behalf and whose belief in their own mind can be strong enough so that they can actually help you. And sometimes all you need are encouraging words, but sometimes you need somebody to hold that belief for you because you can't hold it for yourself. And in a way, that's what this man was saying to Jesus. Yes, I believe, but hang on, I've got these doubts coming in, and could you hold it for me? Could you hold that for me in your consciousness? And as Jesus often said to people, it's your faith that's made you whole. But Jesus just knew in his own mind, when he knew absolutely in his own mind that that person had that belief, then miracles started to happen. And as I said, miracles are simply things that happen for which we have no explanation. So that's really all I got to say, because I'm an engineer and I don't like to go on. If this is not clear, let me know. Text me, email me. It's okay. I will answer you. So that's all I got to say about this. But it is core to lots and lots of teachings that belief, true belief, knowingness is at the center of everything. So Release will be back tomorrow morning at 9:30. I will be back tomorrow evening around about 5 o'clock. And it's the start of the weekend for most of us, so have a wonderful weekend. If it isn't your weekend, then have a great rest of the day. And until next time, from the depths of my being, I say, Namaste.